11:59 at Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words from some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern, that's 4 Pacific, for about an hour and 90 minutes each day. We talk about guns. We do 3 different subjects each day, different subjects throughout the week, and we run it on YouTube. Then we simulcast it over at gunchannels.com, where we're watching the comments that are coming in live. Take the audio, post it over on iTunes as a podcast. So we encourage anybody who's listening to the show now or in the future to leave us some feedback. That way we know what platform you're listening on and who's all's out there. And also hopefully get the show recommended to more listeners, more viewers. And that's what our goal is. So we do appreciate that, people that help us with that. We got 4 hosts. Only 2 of us are here today.
Indeed.
Bob jumping in from Canada. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, glad to be here.
And then I'm back in New Mexico. Oh, that's not even working. All right, so can you hear me? It's pretty loud. You're muted, so.
I can hear you okay, man.
Okay. Well, I'm going to continue to try to monitor the other the chats and stuff, but if you're out there, let us know. Let us know how the sound is coming through. I'm in New Mexico. I'm back in Las Vegas, New Mexico. If I could open the doors of the van here, I'm across the street from another place from the movie. It's not really a shooting location per se. It's the McDonald's that they took a bunch of the guys in communist garb and stood them in front of it and took a picture. And that was supposed to be one of the propaganda pictures for the show or the movie. But I guess McDonald's had a problem with it, so they were never able to use it. Anyway, there's only one McDonald's in town, so I know this is the McDonald's. I'm sitting across the street in a Taco Bell parking lot. I was hoping to be able to turn the camera on and point across the street at the sign, but it's coming down pretty good. So sorry about the noise, but that's part of the fun and the adventure of going around and doing this stuff live. I'm hoping that this insulation on the van is keeping some of the noise down. I'm guessing it's probably a lot quieter than if I just had bare metal.
Yeah, no, it's pretty decent. We can hear the rain coming down, but it's kind of like just a background drone, so we can still hear you okay. So as long as you can hear us, that's the big thing.
Right on. All right, well, it's just me and Bob today, so we'll just dig right in. So I've had some fun today. I went to what is it called? Trinidad, Colorado last night. So after we were done with our show, I went out to another shooting location where at the beginning of the movie when the guys are headed out of town, and I wasn't filming our show from there. No, I filmed our show from in town. So I went up to where when the guys are heading out of town and they load up at Robert's dad's place, they load up the truck and then head down that road, and then there's a roadblock and they have to veer off the road, and then the Americans come by and tear up the roadblock with I can't remember if it's an airplane or a helicopter. And
helicopter.
Then was a helicopter. Okay, and then they figure out that the radiator's busted. I think they got shot at, and then they had to pee in the radiator. So that's the road where me and Smeggy found that going around on Google Maps one night, and I found it and did Yankee show from out there. Then after that, I was sort of north of Las Vegas quite a bit because it's out of town. And I figured instead of going back, you remember Vegas, instead of going back there, I just went up to Trinidad, and there's that gunsmithing school up there at the community college.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't even know about it when we were there last time. But where we stayed at, across the street, I guess that you could say on the other side of the street where the Walmart's at, and then north a little bit is where that community college is. So I was there this morning, and I called them just out of the blue, just, hey, I'm in town kind of thing. And anyway, I did get a call back, but it was later. So anyway, long story short is we scheduled a time to go back up and talk with them and talk about their gunsmithing school and get some pictures and stuff like that.
Oh, that's excellent.
So
I think that'd be really interesting.
yeah, and they were really cool about it. I told them we are doing the podcast, so we just want to help get the word out and stuff. So they were real amenable to it. There's no gun shops up there. And that campground that you were talking about, and I don't remember. Did you say you did go to that lake in Trinidad or no?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so I went over to that lake because I remember you were talking about it, and $18 a night, right? That's pretty cheap. Considering the hotels and just, well, there's that Walmart. I stayed in that Walmart last night, which was no problem. It was a little noisy, but they are totally fine with people staying there. I don't think we did. We went to a hotel, right? So we didn't end up having to bivouac there. But anyway, I figured instead of just sitting in a Walmart parking lot literally all day, right, waiting for that guy to call me back, I would just head back. Because there's, like I say, there's nothing to do there. There's no gun shops. There's nothing. And if you drive, you have to drive like, 2 hours north to get to anything else in Colorado? There's not even yeah, so I just decided, screw it, I'm going to head back. I went and I found the rocks where Aardvark gets up on, after the Russians were going to take out some city folk,
yeah,
and shoot them in a firing line, and then they went like 3-2 before they could say 1. Wolverines opened up on them with the RPKs from the rock face, and then dropped that grenade down into the open turret. And then at the end of all that, the city folk ran free, and Aardvark gets up on a hill and yells Wolverines, holding his AK up in the air. So me and Smeggy found that on Google Maps also with a little bit of detective work. And I drove down there today, and it is far in the middle of nowhere. I don't know how they found that shooting location or why they chose that specific one, but wow, it is far away. So I went out there early enough I figured being out that far, there's no internet, but I figured I'm going to go out there and look anyway. Went out there and looked, and there sure enough was no internet, but I gave myself enough time to get back here. I thought it rained, so it slowed everybody down. But anyway, that's my adventure today. So what have you been up to?
Nothing. I'm out of the trailer emptying it out so I can sell it. So yeah, I'm kind of out in the boonies again. But my phone works, so yeah, I'm on. I'm here.
Right on. So I guess we'll dig into the show then. I don't have much to show you. Like I say, and then I got back to town, and I didn't know, I forgot about Smeggy being out of town this weekend. So I texted you guys back and then was like, well, I'm going to go look for internet in town, right? And I really wanted to do the show today from the high school. Well, it's now a junior. Well, it is a junior high, but in the movie it was a high school where the paratroopers come down. Did we go there last time or no?
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did. So I know Oro's been there back in 2012 because I got a picture of him sitting in front of the scoreboard. But the thing is now it's, stranger danger or something. There's like big metal fences up all around the whole like perimeter of the entire schoolyard. So before it was just this little school in the middle of a field. Some of the fields were like baseball or football or whatever. And then that one field was all fancy for like doing football games or something. And then the school, and you could just drive up and go anywhere you wanted, basically, except for the fence around the football field. There was nothing. So now there's like this big, heavy metal fence everywhere so that people don't steal all them kids, I guess. And then there's like you can only go in one way, and parents pick up in one way, and parents pick up exit only on the other way. And that was the only gate that was even open. So I drove up, and it's raining like you can hear it now. And I don't know what New Mexico curbs, or what do you call them, shoulders are like with a 1-ton van. So I got real paranoid. I didn't want to like pull into the shoulder and try to do a 3-point turn or something. So I drove down past the school. Long story short, I came back around again to try to get a picture of school from the outside, and I saw that a bunch of people were going in the outdoor, right, in the exit. So I did. I went up in there and got a video. So I don't know if that's illegal or what, but anyway, then I had to book over here because there was no internet over there, and I wasn't going to stick around in
your big white van outside a high school that's all paranoid about security. Gee, yeah, that's probably a really good idea. I thought the story was going to end with you getting pulled over by the local constabulary and questioned for an hour.
No. All right, so I guess with that we can start digging into the show. Keep saying that. So today's gun tech, titanium firing pins.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what I know about titanium firing pins. You could probably put into a eye of a needle. But they're titanium, which is a really strong metal. But they're metal, so they got to be better. So yeah, I like the idea of titanium firing pins because it sounds cool. Titanium firing pins.
Well, I think the idea is that since titanium is strong but way lighter than regular metal, like steel, then I don't know, it makes your gun lighter or something stupid. Problem is if it isn't heavy enough with the mass to have the inertia to do its job. So I don't see. And it's also very brittle, no?
Yeah, I think. Well, titanium, I think, is known to be kind of brittle. Yeah.
I mean, except for like special use, like because they don't want, I don't know what they would want it for, but you don't really see titanium hammers or chisels or axes, right? It's not that kind of metal. Yeah. So I just don't see it being the kind of thing I'd want to have striking something.
Yeah, well, I don't think it would work good for like cutting implements like that because you want the mass behind them. That's what helps them to cut. So that might be why you don't see them, but I don't know. I mean, I've heard like titanium survival knives and all this shit, but hey, if you want to spend your money on something like that, yeah, go ahead. I think it sounds like a cool idea. If somebody sent me a bunch, I'd probably put them in my gun and try them out. But yeah, it's not like wouldn't be a priority for me.
I mean, unless it's like a diagnostic, like a troubleshooting step, like, oh, this gun isn't working. Like, what could we change the mass of or the weight of, right? What could we change to make this gun work better for whatever situation's going on? I guess I could see it as an option there, but I'm not sold on it being better for, across the board. And I'm going to fall to the old, if it was so good, then everybody be using it. It'd be in guns. I guess they're going to claim that it costs too much to put in every gun.
More than likely. Yeah, more than likely that's what they're going to claim. Although, well, titanium is an expensive metal. It's good for what it does. If it works better for firing pins, sure, why not? But I wouldn't, I don't change sights. I have a perfect gun. I don't need to do shit to it. It works perfectly the way it is.
Well, since we both agree that we don't know nothing about titanium firing pins, this is really Dano's subject. He's the one that's all trained up now. So yeah. I'm going to suggest the SR-71 is comprised mostly of titanium, correct? And its jet engines have a bunch of exotic metals in them, and the little fins, from what I understand, at the end are made out of titanium. And each flight they have to replace them because they melt and they start to turn into like icicles, they start to streak out as they start to melt and lose themselves. So from what I understand, they take those things off. And if you could take a bunch of that SR-71 engine titanium and give it to me, then I would probably make something cool out of titanium or have something cool made out of titanium with that.
Well, apparently you can actually work it. I remember reading that somewhere that
well, I'd be happy if you could melt it down and recast it or reforge it into something awesome, knowing it came from a 71 engine.
I don't know. It would be really, really hard to melt it down. Its melting temperature is very high. I mean, the reason it's melting on the airplane is because the airplane's going Mach 4, and the friction, even at super high.
Yeah, exactly. It's simple. You just explain it yourself. So anytime you want to melt titanium, just go Mach 4 or 5 and hold it out the window.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure your cop car won't do that, or your van.
The van might, though. The van's running pretty good. I don't have a gauge that goes up to Mach 5, but I might look around the junkyard.
I can't wait to get down there in my van and show you what a real motor looks like and runs like.
It's gonna be that way. So then let me go grab a picture of. I'm pretty sure I found a picture of your van. Did you see that on the Instagram?
No. Okay. Instagram. I'd have to actually figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, I'll use Instagram in spurts. Yeah, sounds weird. We're connected, right? You're hearing me and we're live, but none of my web pages are working. Like nothing, like Instagram, nothing's loading for me. So I must have a really weak internet connection here.
Oh, probably. Yeah, that's safe. At least we're live. Yeah, if we had like Smeggy here or somebody.
Somebody out there could find the Instagram. It's on the gear side. I posted a link to the anyway, if somebody could find that picture on the gear site on Instagram and then throw a link in there, then Bob can look at it. I'm going to suggest let's keep moving because titanium's awesome, but titanium firing pins don't do nothing for me.
Yeah. Well, I know.
All right, so that'll take us to the gun business. We're going to solve the gun business today. Why is it so challenging for U.S. manufacturers to make AKs? But before we do, we're going to stop and pause for a bit because we like to feature one of our members over at Gun Channels between the first and second segment of the show each day. And there's been a, and if anybody has figured it out by now, feel free to guess. Today's member of the day is Concealed Carry Nation. He hasn't been around for a while, but he's one of the members of Gun Channels that is a big Instagram phenomenon, I guess you could say. He came over to Gun Channels early last year. Wait. No, it must have been early 2015. Him and Marco basically started Instagram pretty much the same time, and they both got to 300,000 subs pretty quick through basically knowledge of the Instagram and what people like, and what tastes and trends are out there. So they knew what they did. A lot of they do reposting, so they know what the kind of flavors people are interested in, and they're able to keep an audience. I mean, anybody can know what people like, but it's also a matter of doing it and then doing it consistently and being able to be on point, consistently. So both of them are really good at Instagram. Concealed Carry Nation came over and Gun Channels during the day before Jimmy James and Tony and Sean Connery started doing the real good early or daytime shows. There was just some live chats during the day from a bunch of people who used to work for a living, they'd be at work chatting or whatever. So he was always in the chats quite often, and he was always willing to consult or to give pointers and just to kind of collaborate with other Instagrammers. And I've known lots of people over the years, pretty much everybody around. I mean, I've met them at least, and some of them are cool and some of them are not, and very few of them, even the really cool ones, there's a couple of cool ones, but there's very few that are going to talk shop with you. A lot of people are really, they hold their cards close to the chest for some reason. I guess there's a perception that there's only so much pizza, and if they show you how they grab it, then there's not going to be enough left for everybody or something. But Concealed Carry Nation always seemed to be the opposite of that. Very outgoing, very willing to answer questions, let you know what worked, what didn't. No big ego, really nice guy. So unfortunately, he quit hanging out at Gun Channels. I'm not sure why, but he's our member of the day. So he's I don't know if he's even still a member, but might want to check him out on Instagram. It's Concealed Carry Nation. I think there might be underscores or something. I'm not sure. I know he had some issues because it's kind of a general name, and people were fighting him about the use of it or something. So I know he's had to kind of fight to keep his presence. All right, we still connected good. It's weird.
I remember him at that. He was always a good time.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to refresh my browser. So go ahead and take the show for a second, Bob, and dig into why is it so challenging for U.S. manufacturers to make AKs or whatever you want, and I'll be back in a minute.
Well, we can talk about that. Well, number one, they're making the archaic AKs. I think number two is they don't do crude, like American companies do not do crude workmanship weapons well. They don't do, well, not crude, I don't know. They don't do simple stuff well. They're like a cross between Germans and Brits. It's like, well, we don't want to make parts, but we could put this fancy little things in here. They do tend to do that. Because if you look at the AR-15, it's finicky. Or not finicky, it's just got a lot of little stupid parts, doesn't it? Then you look at the AK, it's like, that's the way it should work. Of course, then you look at something like a BZ-58, which is the superior product. And why aren't those made in America? I mean, that's what I want to know. Why don't they make BZ-58 replicas in America? Because I think they're out of production in Czechoslovakia now. I think it's done. Whatever there is that's what we've got. We got like something like 10,000 sitting in a warehouse somewhere, and the company can't get them released because they have a Spartan head and some saying about, Mulan Bob or something like that. And apparently the government says that makes it a different gun than the regular VZ-58s that come in. They're all upset by it. So they don't want to allow that gun in, which kind of sucks. But what are you going to do? Hopefully we get G-Webs back here. But, hey, if we don't, we don't. If anybody out in the chat in YouTube can let me know, can you still even hear me? Am I still even live? It says I'm live, but I don't know. So anyway, why can't American manufacturers? My opinion, I guess I just said it's because they don't do that real simple functional stuff as well as people like the Russians do. They're more like, they're not like the Germans. They don't add a whole bunch of shit, but they're kind of, gimmicky, I guess, or just adding features because they're cool. That's what I've always found with American firearms manufacturers. Now that is merely my general thought. So that's not gospel, and everybody in Canada, I'm sure, doesn't believe that, but that's just my personal thoughts on it. What else? Let's see. Well, I'm thinking G-Web's probably lost his connection and couldn't get back. So this will run until it runs. So I'm sure he's going to want to weigh in on why American manufacturers can't do AKs properly. So meanwhile, let's skip to the next subject before we get booted offline. So let's talk about the gun of the day, because I don't want to do old gun topics because it's about range games, which is not a big deal for me. So the gun of the day, which G-Webs so rudely wouldn't let me talk about yesterday, is a ZH-29 semi-auto rifle. Now, from one of the premier weapons designing countries in the world, Czechoslovakia, one of the premier designers, Brumholm, something. I don't know. I should remember his name, but I'd have to look it up, and yeah, I'd probably kill my computer. Anyway, it's semi-automatic. It was pre-war. I think there's about 500 or some produced. I watched the thing on another channel, Ian's channel, a really good channel called Forgotten Weapons, about it. And the guns are beautiful. They get the patina they got on turned purple. So there's really cool looking guns. But yeah, a really different kind of semi-automatic, right? The barrel's kind of offset a little bit, and it bolt kind of works sideways. Unlock sideways, I guess. Very interesting gun though. But again, like Czechoslovakia, people don't understand. They've made some of the best. The Beza machine guns were Czechoslovakian designs. I think the Bren gun was heavily influenced by the Czechoslovakian designs.